Bonnie County, everyone. This is Professor Alvin Rahh, Professor Emeritus, California State University of Long Beach, former city councilman for the city of Compton, former Compton College Board of Trustees, and former Compton Unified School District Board of Trustees, founder of the Black World Institute, a research center of videos and audio collections of various uh, um, international and national speakers of the African American community and liberation movement. Um, Founder of the They Paid the Price breakfast program for seniors, and founder of the Institute of Positive Education Impact at Compton College, where we gave free tutoring for young people for years. And so we want to welcome you here to the Conscious Corner. We're going to have a lively discussion on two major topics. The first one is about the war and feelings about the war that's going on in Yemen, Lebanon, and Gaza, and between Israel and the Houthis, the various fractional groups in the Middle East, and their bombing of those communities. The United States just sent some troops, more troops. They already had troops there. I want to get a point of view from the panel this evening on do they think America should be sending troops, nuclear warships, more defense weapons for so-called defense weapons for Israel, and their position that they're just urging for peace. You know, they're trying to work out a diplomatic solution, but it seems like they're preparing for all-out war against Iran. But anyway, so we're going to start with Brother Ahi. Ahi, what's your position on should the United States be that supportive of Israel and go over there, and how you
Well,
see it?
I don't think they should be so blatantly one-sided. They're very biased, and they're in the wrong. They're going about the wrong way. We have 1,200 people who were murdered um, by um, by Hamas, uh, and we have about 30 to 40,000 people who were murdered, hospitals targeted, schools targeted, mosques targeted. It's an all-out genocide at this particular point, and the Netanyahu is now threatening the people in Lebanon
Beirut.
and making all type of he speaks with a forked tongue. I'm warning you to get out. I don't want to kill innocent civilians, but I'm warning you to get out now. You know, he's chasing a handful of people of Hamas, but the civilians are paying the cost. And United States is constantly sending support for the Zionists over in Palestine, currently called Israel, and I don't see them pushing their way to make sure that the, the the children who are the victims and the women and the elders over there, Palestinian folk who are the victims, the Palestinian and Lebanese who are the victims of this aggressive behavior using military equipment and bombs from the United States of America, and it's a bad look for America. I don't know if its reputation is going to suffer because they do have some people behind them. We do have some people like into killing, into murdering. A lot of folk, specifically from the West. This is a sad time for us to be witnessing something like this. When was the last time we saw something like this? Not so far, not too long ago, right before my when I was born, 1945, 40 to 45, or over in Europe, I think we headed in that direction. And people are choosing sides, are choosing up now. We're walking right into a third world conflict. And that's my opinion of what's happening there. What's happening here in Detroit. They're not courting the 250,000, quarter of a million Middle Eastern people here. It's going to be a tough race in Michigan. I know if those were my people over there, I'd have a hard time seeing what a lot of people want us to see, the so-called big picture, and voting for these people who are verbally, and not only verbally, but physically supporting my demise.
Okay. I'm on that point. I'm gonna get back to you. Brother Mshinda, what's your position on troops in the Middle East, American troops, and warships, and Air Force, and other weaponry, and providing intelligence, satellite intelligence to Israel?
Well, my opinion is it's more of the same. I mean, you, you know, you you take a position in life, So it's like, okay, my understanding is that this has been ongoing all my life, in terms of their survival, their supremacy, their survival. And as the world turns, um, things are getting more, getting deeper. Uh, Demographics are changing across, globally inside the United States. And it's no change, in my opinion, in terms of I'll use the same uh, statement: last call for alcohol. This is their last dance, the last dance. If you're going to get you a lady tonight, this is the last song for the evening. You better do what you got to do. So, in other words, they're looking at their genetic survival. Dr. Francis Cress Welsing did a study on genetic survival. Well, we're coming into the dawn of it. We're coming into the last call. They've been talking about it for years, and the numbers don't lie. And so, when those warships are pulling up, I'm gonna pull up. They pulling up. That's what they do. They got to defend their belief systems. You know, and so I don't even think I have an opinion maybe, but man, it can't control what they're doing. Has no ability to stop the warships from pulling in. You know, they're pulling in. Because of the fact that when people start, uh, when the other folks, the underdogs, start looking at the agenda and start looking at what's happening, they're like, man, we tired of this. We have to fight this. And so this has been an ongoing battle. And so as time as the world turns, as time progresses, um, you know, they're losing their grip. They're losing their grip. We're just living in the times where they got a good grip. They have a good grip right now. And unfortunately, we're here to witness that, man, they got a hell of a grip, and Donald Trump, he's part of that, grip. And not just him, not just him. It's the whole establishment is. I mean, they got difference in the how they want to do business, but at the end of the day, white supremacy is alive and well, and they're trying to preserve that. So whether they pull up with a ship or threaten with a nuclear bomb, going into Lebanon or Beirut, you know, Hamas and all these other groups, all they're doing is, they tired of it. They're like saying, hey, you can't just run over us like that. You can't do what you want to do. You know, we're gonna stand up for ourselves. But unfortunately, they don't have the might. You know, we live in a nuclear situation here. Israel is threatening to blow up Iran's nuclear capability because they don't want to be confronted with nuclear bombs. Would you? So they're going to stand up for their position. You know, but at the end of the day, those are Europeans, and they're fighting the war. And like Muhammad Ali said, hey, they ain't did nothing to us. My brothers, man, they haven't bothered me. I can't fight them. I can't go over there and shoot it out with them. They're not looking for me. They're looking for you because what you've done, you know. But if
And
you want if you want to talk about it, they try to tell you to stop talking about it in America. They're trying to take it out of schools. They're trying to censor you from having these conversations. And when artificial intelligence kick in, they will infiltrate these conversations. They'll have the intelligence to see that what we're talking about. And I have an IT background, so trust me on that. They will be able to identify what we're talking about. Like who on the planet is talking against us. Now whether we want to continue to talk about it, that's on us. Which we gonna do. But I'm telling you, it's that deep. Trump believes in qualified immunity for all cops and all this other, protections and things like that for the people that's going to try to, suppress the masses of the people. And but Project 2025, we hear that all the time, but I don't know. I don't think most people really understand that, in terms of that it's an agenda that, that's trying to, and it's being carried out here in You asked me how Louisiana's doing. I'm doing fine, but at the end of the day, the governor here in this state is pushing an agenda that's based on Project 2025. And he's getting away with it because he has a supermajority. And it's pretty deep down here. But I'm not gonna be, upset and depressed behind it because I'm operating on another level on the way I deal with it. But I'm trying to educate people every day about what's happening. And I'm sure part of this conversation we're gonna have tonight as it relates to the black males and all that kind of stuff. That's a deep scenario that's going on down here, and but it's mind control at the highest level, and I don't know, it's not bad news. I don't want to be like the cup is half empty, but man, we're it's a lot of troubling things that I'm witnessing out here and globally or nationally, that kind of thing. But but it's the same old song. They're trying to maintain their position because they know that their time is coming to an end, and it's nothing they can do to stop it. There's nothing they can do. I mean, biologically and demographically, they can't stop their losing their position. So in other words, I'm gonna go down. If I, I may not be at the finish line, or I might not win, but I'm taking a whole lot of people out with me. And I think that's what it is. So it's a dangerous time that we're living in.
mm, teach, Rashiki, do you think America should be sending troops, not just in the Middle East? They got warships and they have already attacked Yemen. The Houthis in Yemen, talking about they were protecting, they were protecting their interests, which we'll get back to it. There's no evidence that Yemen ever attacked an American ship or American people. But anyway, Rashiki, they're sending troops directly to Israel now, somewhere around first they said 200, now it's up to 2,000. Do you think America should be doing that?
Of course, no. They
Okay.
shouldn't be doing it. I think things are becoming more and more clear that the control that they have and want to keep is just evident. And anytime you could say that you want a ceasefire and you're at the base of the war that's being perpetrated, something is dearly wrong. And people that can't see it, something's wrong with them. But you have a lot of protesting going on. You even have a lot of Jewish people that's against what's going on. So the media may portray that, the agenda of the controllers, but it's clear that majority of the people of the world do not want what's going on. So the numbers are changing, and at some point it's all going to catch up with the United States and what they're doing. They're spreading themselves thin, just like Israel. This is why they send in troops, because Israel is spreading themselves thin. You want to go into Lebanon, you're already in Gaza. There's only so many people that could do this fighting. And this is why they have all these weapons of mass destruction. The answer is absolutely no. You shouldn't be sending any bombs or anything to Israel, because an advanced thinker know that that's not the way to go. And these people are barbaric and they're out of their minds. And this is why we have what we have. Anybody that support it, they'll right along with them. They're out of their minds.
Yeah, I appreciate what's been said, if I understand it correctly. Sometimes you have to look at a 20-year, 25-year plan of strategic movement, not just the moment.
That's Rahh. And
yeah.
one thing, Linda just came. If you can hear.
I know, I'm gonna get to her in a minute. How you doing, Linda?
Oh, I'm okay. I'm surviving.
We're talking about America sending troops to Israel.
Oh, wow.
Let me just go back. You have to understand the history of the United States and Euro-America and Europeans, period. It was in 1948 that Ralph Bunche, who was the United States ambassador, wrote the declaration for Israel to be in Palestine. Israel was not, that's not the biblical Israel. That's the Israel that was created. This is not the original America. This is America that was created. That's not the original Russia. Europeans, even though they call themselves Russians, that it was created. They didn't fight their way into Africa. Africa let them into parts of Africa, let them in as guests. They didn't fight their way into America. Native American brought them in as guests. That's why you have Thanksgivings today. And they didn't fight their way into Palestine. The Palestinians let them in as guests because they were humanitarian people. And they didn't think it was a conflict. Israel is following the same footsteps. I think Malcolm said it best. The same man that's oppressing you all over the world is the same man. The same man that's oppressing Black people all over the world and people of color is the same man oppressing us. The white man, blue-eyed, blonde hair, devil. I wouldn't get that graphic because the word devil means do of evil. They never apologize for what they did to the Native American. Matter of fact, when you see an American, you think it's a white person. There's really three Americas: North America, South America, and Central America. You understand? But this one dominated from the standpoint of patriotism, militarism, and setting up their own jurisprudence system. And so you have to look at the history of the struggle in Palestine. America is the one that provided them the weapons throughout their history and gave them the money to exist. They didn't call it reparations for Germany and the Holocaust, but they exceeded what reparations that Israel is getting, or some Jewish people are getting from Germany. They call it reparations, but it's really establishment of a European a military base in the Middle East. America is not sending new weapons or helping Israel. They are Israel. You know, I mean, if I'm giving you money to get through your day-to-day services, and I give you weapons to dominate, devastate, and just as he said, genocide. That means you're part of it. Right now, they got 3 families on trial for not securing their weapons and are giving their children weapons who went out and shot people. You know, I mean, one of them was found guilty. The other one's on trial, the young man. Just giving weapons. If we were to go out and do a drive-by or rob somebody, and I gave you the guns and the weapons and knew what you was going to do with them, I'd get arrested too for conspiracy. The international court says you're not supposed to do that. The 2 leaders of the Palestinians that were negotiating a ceasefire were assassinated by Israel. They didn't assassinate them just because they were leaders. They don't want no negotiations. They don't care about them hostages. They don't care. They don't care if they kill them or the Hamas kill them. That's evident. And so you have to see that the war has been going on since 1950 or earlier, and America's deep in it. But they have twisted the game to make you think Israel's the victim, and the other people are attacking Israel because they're Jews, and they don't want them to exist. When that's not it. They're fighting for their land back. But they then twisted it into an anti-Semitic thing or anti-Israel thing. And if you look at it, they're the ones that's doing the attacking. If you look at how the Gaza Strip came about, they ran the people out of Palestine and put them up against the ocean and build a gate so that they couldn't go onto the ocean. They neutralized Egypt. Did not let none of them in there. And Egypt got troops keeping the Palestinians from crossing over. And so then the only way out is through Israel. And they tell them when they can come out, they have to get special work permits if they're going to work in Israel. What streets to go down? Mass incarceration for just looking at them. Not counting the destruction of homes in the West Bank. But they're going to say Israel is under attack. They're going to whine about 1,200 Israel killed, but the thousands, hundreds of thousands that they've killed over the years, they don't whine about. And so you got to look at it from a standpoint of them sending troops, not because see in America, if you're Jewish and you're born American, you can get dual citizenship with Israel with no problem. But if you're African and you try to get dual citizenship with America, in Africa, they tell you got to give up your American citizenship. Are you following me? You know, I mean, that's how deep it is. So a lot of the soldiers that are going over there before they were American so-called troops, they were American Israelis that went over there to fight for their brothers and sisters. And it without saying they're American troops, they call them Israel troops. They playing stuff as he and Mshinda said, this is a vicious game of attacking, neutralizing other Arab countries, Saudi Arabia, Egypt. I mean, it's just Syria, you know, and they, you know, they built Hamas to counteract the Palestinian Liberation Army. And Yasser Arafat said that they'd use radiation to give him cancer. Also, Stokely Carmichael said that's how he got cancer, that they put some type of special gun that they got, that they followed them around and shot them. They didn't feel it, and they got lung cancer. I don't know, but, you know, it seems feasible for two people. They didn't do the autopsies, and they didn't do the perspectives that to prove it, but the people that were victims while they were sick, they wrote that down. Getting back to sending troops over, they're just going to justify saying that if Iran or Lebanon or the Hamas or Hezbollah shoot over in Israel, they're attacking American troops too. So that gives them the right to go full aboard. Now let me tell you this. This is about big money. They will aid Israel to expand its borders, because it has expanded its borders since 1956, 58, the war. It's, you know, like if you look on the map, Israel a little dot, but they keep expanding their land. The West Bank is expanding their land, building villages, giving people free homes, and blowing up the Palestinian homes and running them out. They don't talk about that. America, if America wasn't aiding and abetting, how could you say you have a free press here, but Israel, who you finance, can tell you you can't cover it, none of your reporters can come in, we have to give you the news. And let's just shut it off, period. For the last couple of months, it's all been about the election, earthquakes, hurricanes, which rightfully should be covered. But they've been left out. The continued bombing and killing of the people in Gaza and the people in Lebanon and things. A news blackout. Could you imagine a little country like that telling the United States if they were really separate? But they learned this from America. They never apologized for what they did to the Native Americans. They never apologized what they did to us and hundreds of years of enslavement. They never apologized to the Japanese for Hiroshima and Nagasaki. But they did apologize to each other during the Revolutionary War and the Civil War. And they paid reparations in each of those wars. Lincoln wanted 40 acres in the mule. They assassinated him, and they turned the strip around to give the slaveholders reparations and the slaves nothing. There were those that were enslaved. And that's how things went. Now listen, that is not, they don't consider themselves wrong. They enjoy killing. I mean, these people enjoy it. They've been doing it throughout their history. You understand? Mass killing, you know, and then they get upset when their kids do mass killings. But they learn from them. You understand? Political gangbanging. The Republicans in red and the Democrats in blue. Crips in red, or in blue, and the Democrats in red. Fight, ride or die. We ride or die together. I put that on my country, my patriotism, not my mama. You know, ain't past that. Forget your mama. We used to swear, I swear on my mama, I'm telling the truth. No, I swear on my country, my patriotism, I'm telling the truth. And then Trump is worse than a Biden policy, not from the standpoint of the killing, but they created the problem when he's let them take Jerusalem and put Israel as the capital of Israel and move the Palestinians out of their churches, their mosques, and said that Jerusalem, and it was agreed upon that they would split Jerusalem. It would be Muslim and Jewish. That's what the Palestinians negotiated, that they would both share Jerusalem because they were both declared religious sites for each group. But just like they had 250 treaties with the Native American, the Native American kept every one of their words. America broke every treaty. You understand? So their word don't mean nothing, just like Trump word don't mean nothing. That's American. Trump's just American. And he's exposing America by unleashing them, the monster side of evilness and hatred that they have toward people that they consider, like in one movie they said, white man came here to rule America. The black people and Native Americans and people of color are here to work for America. You understand? That's their attitude. And that's what they're upset about, as Rahh was saying and Mshinda was saying about population shift. You understand? If they want to stop immigration, just start saying anybody that's hiring is a felony, individually or as a company. If you hire someone that's undocumented, get digital IDs for those that are issued work permits. And if they don't, and you can just put them in a machine, see if they are authentic, like they do your credit card with a picture for those that are here and get a green card or whatever. And then second, if you're a company, they never say, let's give it the root. And that's the same thing for healthcare for undocumented people. If they don't have the card, then you can identify. No hospital, nobody can provide service. That's how you cut down on immigration. And then start rebuilding their countries. People don't want to move here. They come here because they can get a job. If they had jobs in their own country, they would do that. But that's a whole different struggle. But anyway, the dominant aspect of is that these people will wipe and destroy a lot of Lebanon, Beirut, and Gaza and all that. But they're not going to have a bunch of wars in their country. Russia don't want one. China stays out of it. They benefit from everybody fighting. In America, why don't they want it? Because they can't have their fun. They can't spend their money. These billionaires don't want world war. They have it too good. You think all the colleges, kids' dreams have to stop. All the ball games and entertainment things they do. No more Academy Awards during World War. All of that type of stuff. But, they want to spend their money from the benefit. And how they spend their money? They tear up countries and then give the countries money to pay American companies to rebuild it. In other words, they say, we'll send you the equipment and the material to rebuild your country that we help destroy. That's their game. You understand? I'm a major corporation. That's why 3% of the people have all the money. And you have to really go into detail and research to see that Israel is doing the same thing all European nations that come into the flourishing of themselves by underdeveloping as Rodney, I forget his last name, wrote in his book, How Europe Undermined Underdeveloped Africa. And they make sure people can't grow food or produce food. They have to buy food from them. Look what they doing in Haiti. They're so mad at Haiti for being the first African country to liberate itself and establish its own government, and made them pay reparations to France for getting their liberation from France by blockading and not letting food or materials in. America was right there with them. See, that's what that NATO and all their alliances is about. And all of them get a little bit of the money. You understand? And so there's a long struggle. But it's not about Israel's defense or right to exist. It's about the Palestinians' defense and right to exist. If you lined up all the Palestinians and tell me who is a terrorist, you couldn't tell them apart. They all wear the same damn thing. They ain't got no army. They ain't got no equipment except the ones they take off dead bodies. You find people in sandals and people, but they're resilient. They're resilient. They've been fighting these people for over 60 years, standing up to them. They ain't wiped them out yet. And they never conquered all of Africa. They conquered the coast, and they neutralized a lot of the leaders that colonized through corruption. But as far as taking over 12 million square miles, they haven't done it. They changed Egypt even though it's on the continent of Africa, say it's not African. Egypt is nothing but northern Ethiopia. That's all it is. But it's just like what these countries are doing. Trinidad and the other country just expelling Haitians from their country. 10,000 a week. 10,000 Haitians a week are being pushed out, taking their citizenship. And they're on the same island. They grew up in the same island. But it's the mulattoes, the whites, the half-white, that America to neutralize and letting them do these things and helping them do it. So it's a long struggle. But the World War, has always been about land. It's not about religion. It's not about ideology or philosophy. It's about expanding the land, because when you get land, you get all the resources that's in the land: oil, diamonds, gold. It's a challenging thing. But anyway, whew, boy, let's get to this politics of black men that they got out saying black men are not voting for Kamala Harris. A lot of them are. What's your position on that, Ahi? You there? Ahi? What about you, Mshinda? Y'all on mute.
I know
Yeah.
you didn't follow me, but that's stupid.
Okay. Why you say it's stupid?
Because that's dumb. You rather have somebody, a crazy Satan running your country because they don't want Kamala Harris. That is just so dumb.
Why you think they saying that?
I haven't heard anybody that I know have ever said that.
I mean, talking about why you think that the media and camera is going to Detroit.
Because they're trying to create division again, as usual. That's why they're saying that.
Okay.
Because I don't know one black man who said that.
I heard that. Go ahead, Ahi.
Now, what was the statement that you asked, Dr.
They
Rahh?
got in the media, and just recently they said Kamala went to Detroit to talk to preachers and everybody to win black men votes back. That she, in the polls, it said that a lot of black men are not voting for. Why you think that? And do you think it's true or incorrect, and why?
I would say that that's just the media game.
Mm,
You get to saying stuff, people get to believe in things, and sometimes it can even sway your opinion.
mm,
Uh, there are some young brothers, and I'm talking about uh, middle-aged brothers, 35 to 45, I'd say, that a few of them, and these hip hoppers seem to be leading the way because every time you turn around on YouTube, there's another young rapper, or I don't know who they are, but they seem to have some type of influence, and it's a handful of them that will seem to be giving Trump the benefit of the doubt. And as we stated earlier, we're talking about a criminal, a liar, a thief, and somebody who's anti-me. And they're giving him the benefit of the doubt. But with each other, you can't even talk about each other. You can't even, I won't say slur your name, but just any bad language between the two of you, you're ready to kill him.
mm,
But Trump, they embracing him, but just a few. I don't think it's true that most of the men that I talk to are full steam ahead for Kamala. They are uh, uh, supporting her. Most of the black men I know,
mm,
it's gonna be a race, man, because these white folk that I'm around, and I'm talking about the so-called people who are supposed to be some of the leaders and intelligent folk, uh, some of the supervisors and stuff on my job, who let it slip that some of them are not saying right out. They said if they start talking about politics, it's like I haven't made my mind up yet. So you know what that means.
mm,
They're just saying something to be saying something. They made their mind up. So it's gonna be tight. It's gonna be tight. And they're lying about black men. There are some, but they'll pull those up and try and make them look like more than what they are, and try and sway the views of the other ones that are gullible. And that's what I think about that.
mm. Okay. What about you, Mshinda?
Well, overall, black people in America, we've experienced low voter turnout. So we don't need to fool ourselves and think that, we're so politically involved in terms of voting. I mean, your political position might be, well, I'm not voting for this reason and that reason, and that's your business. I mean, that's what happens. People choose to vote or not vote for whatever reason. There's a time that I would vote. I was raised up and getting, I was a kid getting people registered to vote, and then understanding the system and when I got educated on uh, certain things, I became like, you know what? But then I learned it's not even about me. It's bigger than me. I'm gonna be all right because that's my cup's half full, and I'm gonna make sure that I'm all right. And if I'm not all right, I'm gonna try to figure out a solution. But overall, we're not politically inclined in the last several elections. I know locally here in Louisiana and even globally, I mean, when Obama ran and they had, people coming out the woodworks and things like that, but it's a low voter turnout. So I think the goal is to the opposition, whoever the opposition is trying to keep that suppressed, to keep that from waking up. Let's keep them asleep. Let's keep them where they're at. And the ones that are awake, let's try to, like Brother Ahi said, uh, let's transform them into our thinking. So um, the I I have voted Democrat probably all my life, but you know. Um, I can talk about all kind of things that I don't agree with and what things haven't got done and all that kind of stuff as it relates to Democrats. And so, but honestly, young brothers that I've been talking to, we're talking about the black male. She's Kamala Harris has been trying to appeal to the black male. Uh, I was looking at where this minister, Reverend Sewell, he's at some church in Detroit actually, that's been speaking out against, Kamala Harris, saying that she's trying to, pretty much insult intelligence, and that type of thing. And, you're going to bring Oprah Winfrey and Magic Johnson and Charlemagne the God, which Charlemagne the God, who's a podcaster who actually, had a session with Kamala Harris recently, so feels like, hey, it's just an opportune time to try to reach out to brothers, so he felt the preacher, Reverend Sewell, felt that it was, he felt insulted. Of course, when somebody speak that adamant about against somebody, like say Kamala Harris, his mind is made up. He's saying that, he's supporting Trump. And, my thing is that somebody like that and a lot of other preachers and a lot of other people who are in positions of power, meaning that they have influence on others, uh, you know, it's not about, telling the truth. It's not about, picking apart what the agenda is. It's like they've sold, they've pretty much, sold their soul to the devil, so to speak, you know, because it's no way in heck that, the rhetoric that's been coming out of, like Sister Linda is saying, it's no way in hell. We've been on the planet a long time and something ain't right. Somebody's sick. I mean, there's been all kind of politicians out there, but this dude, something's going on. Something's obviously going on. But we're living in the times of social media to where we can be easily swayed and try to prove our point individually that, hey, I could vote for whoever I want to vote for, and that's what we're doing. We're competing. We have this competing, this competition, this spirit of competition, to where, hey, I can do what I want to do, but I talk to young, no, back to the young brothers I talk to, and I've heard some of them say, "Hey, I'm voting for Trump," and I, I said, okay, that's cool. You can, because you know what, this is supposed to be a democracy. You can vote for whoever you want to. I said, but let's talk about why and what we're doing. Very empty answers, lack of information, and again, I don't shame them. I don't shame them. I don't want to lose them. And again, I'm not trying to influence them to whoever to vote for, but I want them to be a thinker. Like, hey, why are you doing something? And are you aware of this? And they like, no, I wasn't aware of that. Wow. I said, don't believe me. Do your own research. And at the end of the day, some of them say, dang, you were right. No, I'm not right. It's not me that's right. Right is right, wrong is wrong. And so if you are informed, then you have to decide what's right, what's wrong, that kind of thing. But most people are ignorant. And when I say most, a lot of people are. Now I don't want to be absolute, say most, but a lot of people are so ignorant, and they just, and they're tired, or they have their feelings of why, and they do what they want to do based on however they feel. But it's without substance, it's without understanding. Because if they don't realize that, like Trump is talking about qualified immunity for the policemen federally. So that means they got a green light. They have a green light to beat you down. We've been experiencing all kind of hate crimes from cops. All cops aren't bad, don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of them out there, case after case after case after case, that has been proven that there needs to be a check and balance. But when you have qualified immunity, that means that you don't have to answer. Just like the Supreme Court gave him immunity in terms of the convictions that he's dealing with. So this thing is something I just find, I'm not, again, I'm not some, trying to be Mr. Smart guy, but I do understand some things. And I know that a lot of people don't understand a lot of the things that's going on. And when you're out of touch and when you lack the information, you're subject to make some very drastic decisions that's going to have a long impact on how it affects you. And I'm talking about the ones that decide to do whatever they do without really researching and understanding why they're doing something in terms of in this election, So it's a sad commentary to where we're dealing with a lot of ignorance and we're dealing with a lot of voter apathy and people don't get out to vote. And now on the other side of the coin, you compare Kamala Harris to Barack Obama. I don't know if you want to compare him, but he was very successful in black males and other things. He was the first black president, and so everybody got out there. Well, now everybody's desensitized, They're like, okay, so, and he had to address Kamala Harris. I mean, he addressed the people that aren't voting for Kamala Harris, or say they're not supporting her and they're supporting Trump. He even told the brothers, he addressed the group and said, hey, I think you'd have a problem with a woman being president, and they felt insulted by that. But he's making a point, you have a lot of macho men, black and white that want the man to be their boss, want the male. It's like some people don't like female bosses; they like male bosses, So they don't like that female being in charge. They think and it's ridiculous though. It's ridiculous, And but this is the type of thinking that we're dealing with. So it all boils down to the level of mentality that individuals have, and so honestly, I don't know. I mean, but so the intelligent ones are the people that know they've already decided who they're voting for. The ones that are, that's talking a bunch of stuff, say, "Oh, I'm voting for this one. I don't know what I'm gonna do." Whatever. A lot of them aren't informed. They don't understand the issues. They don't understand, or they're just apathetic. They're not going to participate and for whatever reason, so they're products of the internet, the social media, and they don't think for themselves. They let Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, they let the news platforms think for them instead of them triangulating and learning for themselves so they can make a sound decision, They don't understand those issues about what's going on in Lebanon and Israel. A lot of people don't, so why would they try to answer your question about Lebanon? They can't answer a question about Compton or Watts or Brooklyn, where they live at. They don't understand what's going on with their school board, So, but anyway, I'm just rambling on and on. But all I know is that guess what? No matter with or without you and me, it's going down in November, and be ready for the outcome one way or the other.
Yeah, but you're not rambling, brother. You're making some good points. Go
Right,
ahead.
like critical thinking,
Yeah, good now. Rashaki?
I mean, it's a lot that's been said. I'm trying to rationalize everything. And how would you be informed about something when your value system is you go along to get along, you just join in wherever you want to join in. You don't have a value, a foundational value system that advocate education. Somebody mentioned desensitized. I think that was Brother Mshinda. Yeah, I mean, people are just, and we could be guilty of being robots at times and just doing things because everybody else is doing them. It comes down to the mental capacity of all these people. Their focus is not in a way where they do things that make sense. I have a new saying, you know, if you listen to the level set, you listen to the commentary we have, and it's good and sound. Brother Mshinda, Sister Linda, Professor Rahh will give us some sound information that should be viral in an educated society. So I say, this should be viral. Then I say, oh, it makes sense. You know, we don't live in a large society, or what we're being fed is not things that make sense, that's popular. But maybe it's a lots of people that we never see that's doing things that make sense within their little power that they have. But when things are presented to us, is presented to us to sway our thinking to a point where they want us to be stupid. You know, so this, no matter who you voting for, you should be well informed and why you're voting for that particular person. Now, if anybody that votes for Trump, I don't know what type of information they're getting, and I don't know what person they're listening to. And then you can say a few things about Kamala Harris too, because she supports Israel herself and married to a Jewish man. I don't know if he's a Zionist Jew, but you know, it's just so much information. But I know if the value system changes with most people, this stuff would turn around. We value the wrong things as a unit. You know, we're worried about the next football game and the Super Bowl party and all of this and all of that. It took me years to put that stuff to a side, because I know it's more important to do other things, and that becomes secondary, not first. So it's just a lot. So I mean, a lot has been said. I know, Professor Rahh, you're gonna have some commentary about it that's gonna make a lot of sense. So let's get to that.
Well, first of all, Zionism is not a part of the Jewish religion. Herschel, who created it, he didn't even believe in no God. He just came up with a perspective that, from a biblical text, that some land should be afforded to Jewish people. But he didn't even believe it. He wasn't even a Jew. You have to look at the history. Just look it up. Look at the history of Zionism. You will see that they didn't. That's just a philosophy that some people made up. Second, when it comes to Zionism, Euro-American racism and apartheid were defined by the United Nations up to 1986 as racist regimes. Euro-Americans, I mean, Caucasians everywhere, that they ran countries, as well as America, was a racist society. Apartheid, we live apart based on race in South Africa, and where they colonized Africans on the continent. Rhodesia was named after Cecil Rhodes, and was responsible for millions of Black people being murdered to take their name. They got European names, Belgian Congo, Lake Victoria, named after Europeans on the continent. So it's a history that we need to look at, first of all. We are diverse people as Black people. We've always been diverse. When I was teaching psychology of the African American, I observed through my studies and the research of others that there are about 4 major mentalities of Black African people on this continent in America. One is Negro, meaning absorption. You absorb totally into American culture. Apparatus, you see yourself as an American. You join the service. He's the one that say, "We sick, boss. Let me help you put out the fire. I don't want to be free. I just want to live up under your rule. I identify with you. I still name my kids after you. I still eat your diet. I still practice your culture. You got Black people playing Western music. You know, just get it, you know, like you say, hey, I can make money off of it. White folks like it. And the second one is Afro-American, which means assimilate. You're not totally absorbed, but you just want to assimilate into the society, maintain your African heritage to a certain degree. You may name some of your kids after an African name, but at the same time, you're dealing with your heritage, not your identity. I'm African because that's where Africans come from, but I'm in America now and I'm American. So it's a compound identity of seeing yourself from a heritage standpoint and from a locational standpoint. And as Malcolm said, just because a cat climb up in the oven and have kittens, that don't make the kittens biscuits. Just because you're born in America don't mean you ain't African. You understand? And the third one is Black, and that means isolation. Black Muslim, Black Panther. Don't have nothing to do with white folks. You understand what the Black Panthers did, but Black Liberation Army. Black, you see yourself a separation, you understand, independence, self-determination from a Black perspective, ideology, philosophy, and culture apparatus. You know, you see them up at Leimert Park, dressing African, talking African, eating vegetarians and health food and things of this nature, getting away from the European culture dynamic. And they isolate themselves. And then there's the fourth one, individual. I'm an individual. I'm just a human being, man. Whichever way the winds blow, I'm on that side. Who's ever winning, I'm on that side. You know, I'm an individual. A lot of Black people grew up as Republicans because Lincoln was a Republican. Douglas and most Black people in the South were Republicans for years because Republicans were radical. They was fighting against, they were against slavery. At that time, when they switched from Whigs to that party. But you have to understand that history of politics. Those are the mentalities. Now getting back up to what we're saying about Black men. That's a media-driven concept, but it's also a little bit culture. We're in a capitalist, sexist, racist, sexist, and capitalistic society. And many women are just as sexist as men against other women. That's why you had the feminism versus womanism when the women. When Jesse Jackson ran for president the first time, he met with the National Women, White Women, National Organization of Women, and he agreed to every one of their platforms, but they didn't vote for him. He said he would institute every one of their platforms. The other people said, no. You know, I mean, one reason they didn't let women vote till the 1920s, because they didn't want them to pass laws against liquor. They didn't want to pass laws against adultery. They didn't want them to be a part of the political process. And they could beat women at that time. Women were property also, but they benefit from it. You understand? And they began to be sexist themselves. You know, but getting back to this concept of Black men turning, there's 161 million registered voters in America. Black people constitute somewhere around 13%. And of that 13%, only 12% are Republican. 12% of Black registered voters are Republican. There was 10%. And a couple went up for various reasons. One, religion. Just like they didn't want women behind the pulpit, and many Black men are sexist. And you see how the rappers demonize women. You understand? And white folks too. You know, call them witches and would burn them at the stake. You didn't even have domestic laws about domestic violence until almost the 70s or 80s. You understand? People used to beat up their wives all the time and whip them you know, and kill them. You understand? And they couldn't own property. They couldn't even get divorced except for specific things. And women are fighting now for equal pay. So you know it's a sexist society. Many black men have that mentality. Not all of them. The majority don't. But there's a percentage of them, like Clarence Thomas and a few others, Thomas Sowell, all of them that represent white interests. There's big money in being Uncle Tom and working with white folk. You can get a better job, you get promoted. Just like in the old days, as Fannie Lou Hamer said, when they put her in jail, they went and got a black prisoner to beat her. If he didn't beat her, they was going to do something to him. And she understood it. Well, that's the same thing on the job. If you don't fire some of these black people and get them in shape, you're going to lose yours. So it's an interest thing. Yeah, like I say, it's big money in selling out. It always have been. Uncle Tom was not about selling out. Uncle Tom was about resistance. The white folks demonized it and turned it into a sellout because they didn't want people to have that Uncle Tom mentality. But if you read the history of the word Uncle Tom, it was never about being a white lackey. White folks turned it into that. And then you go all the way into 84% of registered black voters are women. Women make up a large percentage of the black registered voters. Then you got another 81% of black men. Of that 81% black men, 12% are so-called Republicans. And there ain't no real strong percentage of women being Republican. But they've always had those numbers. Throughout our history, we've always had that number. So all this stuff about black men are not voting for Kamala, I think it's just a thing to plant it in people's head. Yeah, you got black people that's individual, and they just like the forbidden fruit. I ain't supposed to be Republican, I'm gonna be Republican. Just like black men that marry white women. You understand? They just do it because they think that give them status. And it makes other black people mad. We can't do nothing about it. White folks did something about it if their women married a black man. You understand? They had laws against it. Miscegenation laws. That's what they got Jack Johnson for, taking a white woman across state lines. So you have that. But the point is that, no, I don't believe there's a large percentage of black men that's not supporting Kamala. And there's some progressive black men that's not because of the genocide. But they're not significant numbers. You understand? It'd be different if they say they're turning toward Dr. Abdullah and Cornel West, who love and justice party thing, but they're not on every ballot. And they're getting money from white people to stay in the race, especially in the battleground states. They are on many battleground states ballots. So you got black men that will vote for them. You understand? But it's not a significant number. They don't have the money, they don't have the struggle. But the struggle is a continuous struggle. We always dealt with collaborators and those. Harriet Tubman had the same problem as one person saying, I could have freed a lot more of them if they knew they were enslaved. They didn't see themselves as enslaved. When you're born into a system, you think that's life. You understand? And you can't convince people not. It's a long struggle, y'all. It's always been one. Just like we're still struggling for liberation and freedom. Palestinians are, and it's a beautiful thing for those that have that mentality. Just to look for consciousness, like Sister Linda and I.E., just want to get a clarity of how to see the world because of like when Carnegie Woodson said the miseducation of the Negro. People thought it was about schools miseducated. The biggest miseducation machine is the mass media. I mean, you know, the television, the radio. When you speak to the masses, boy, you're speaking to millions of people. When they watch, when you let white people on TV or on radio in your house, they in your house. If you're listening to them, may it be General Hospital, may it be the rest of them soap operas, may it be a documentary on animals or whatever. Those people are in your house and they're in your head. If you don't know how to watch TV, to filter out the mess and the propaganda and the subliminal seductions, because 80% of TV is advertisement. You want to know why many Black people eat bad? Because of advertisement. They put them big old giant burgers on there, get a triple decker for $4 and all that type of stuff. Make it, you know, put chili, onion, put the whole damn stove on the burger, and people buy it. You understand? You've been there. I mean, what do you call it? Monster burger. What the hell would I look like eating a monster? I mean, you know, pastrami on it, cheese on it, chili on it, and you go buy it because they put it on TV and put salt on it and get you addicted. It's not the food. That's why you eat even though you're full, because you're hooked on the salt and all the sugar. But people ain't gonna teach you that. Rashiki have 100 programs every week throughout our program about nutrition, health, flushing your body out. But people still go, man, McDonald's, you pass by the ring around the block, chicken filet, ring around the block. You understand? They have to send people out to take your order in the parking lot. There's so many cars. I just look at them. I look at them as crack houses. That's what they are to me. When I pass by a fast food place, that's a crack house. You understand? Because that's the only way I stay out of it. So I look at it as dope. But if you don't, you know, you go get high. You mainline it and don't even know it. You understand? But anyway, I think that the Black men who are the majority of Black men are Democrats, and they're going to vote Democrat. So those are the dynamics that I see. Unless somebody sees something else, let me know. Let me know. You know, but I just see it. You know, like I said, you can check the statistics. 12% of Black men or Black people are Republicans. That's men and women. And it's even less than that when you don't count the women. So, you know, all that stuff about Black men going Republican, that's propaganda and misinformation if you don't know the statistics. Roger Key, you want to tell us what's on tomorrow?
Yeah.
And then I'm going to make an announcement. I got a special announcement. Let me say that.
Well, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, on October 22nd, is that right, Arashiki?
Yeah,
October 22nd, we're going to have the district attorney of Los Angeles County on the show. Danny Tabor, who was on the show, has made contact with his representative for whatever reason, and they want to come on our platform. I am hesitant because, you know, I'm black, but give us an opportunity to confront him with questions that we have concern. And we're going to have a platform where our regular people get called on to ask questions. And if we have time, we let the new people come on. So can you start preparing your questions for next Tuesday? Nothing hostile. You know how to ask a question, just to the point, without anger or frustration. You know, you just want clarity. If you do some research on him, he was the preferred district attorney by Black Lives Matter to replace the sister that they said was not prosecuting police. And they worked hard to get him elected, because the people he's running about believe in mass incarceration and back to the status quo. So we're going to have a strong talk show next 22nd. If you know anybody from LA, or if you have any concerns want to know about how the district attorney's office works, and make sure you tune in and tell people. Rashiki's going to put it on the email. You can forward to other people, because it'd be the first time you'd be able to ask the district attorney of Los Angeles County questions about the criminal justice system when it comes down to prosecution. All right.
Okay, so tomorrow we have Heraldess Adama coming back, and the topic is time to step into our power. And she has a nice following, and her information is powerful. So should be a real good show tomorrow.
Good.
Forward to it.
All right.
Right.
Any
So,
other questions? Any closing remarks? All right, then we'll see y'all next week then.
all right, we're gonna
We
take
take
our
our
pause.
pause.
Each
Take our
one teach
pause.
one in Conscious Corner.
All right.